2, 1. Hey, everybody!
Hi!
Oh, I'm looking out on my computer. I'm not saying hi. Hi!
Hello!
Hey.
Hi!
So, this is Lauren's sister.
Well, first, it's Mike and Lauren Live.
Oh yeah, this is a show that we do sometimes every Tuesday. Sometimes every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If this is your first time watching, there is a chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. Feel free to let us know what you're thinking.
And actually, we encourage you to let us know what you're thinking, because that way it helps us to keep saying things, because sometimes we don't know what to say.
And if this is your first time watching, we have a bunch of other videos. Go check out our channel. This is our live show. We have shorter videos if you're interested in that kind of thing. And John says first time watching live. I'm excited.
Yay,
awesome.
welcome.
Very cool. Let us know your thoughts as we go along.
Alrighty, so this is my sister, Lindsay. We had Mike's sister, Jackie, on a few weeks ago, and the very next morning I texted Mike. Well, I actually accidentally texted Lindsay, and I was like, hey, we should have Lindsay on a live show. And I was like, that wasn't supposed to go to you,
I was like,
sorry.
I don't think this is meant for me.
So I mentioned it to Mike and thought it was a cool idea, because she's in town visiting from Nashville right now. Because my sister Lindsay has always been a saver. And so when she was in town last, we kind of started talking about money and how much she had, and I just thought that it would be an interesting thing to talk about. So, Lindsay, you've always been a saver. Why?
And be sure, we should have gone over this before this, but make sure you talk up and look in the camera and talk to the microphone. Okay, we got all that out of the way.
Okay, we're good now. I kind of started saving because when we were little, you were saving for your first car. And I was really jealous that she had more money than me. So I started saving. And then I liked it.
So she always had like a stash of cash somewhere growing up.
But unfortunately, people would find out where it was and be like, I'm going to borrow $20 and then never give it back.
Pay you back.
Some people were better than others.
She's not looking
I'm
at
not
me.
talking about her.
I pay
She
back
paid
money.
back.
I didn't borrow money, actually.
No, I don't think you did. And you're not who I'm thinking of.
So, always been a saver. Recently, though, you've been trying to pay off your car, which you just did a few months ago.
I did.
2.5 years early, right?
Yes.
And so you haven't been able to save as much money as you were before, right?
No, I was putting about 50% of what I was making towards my car, so it didn't really leave much saving money.
So how much do you have now?
I have a little over $13,000 in the bank right now.
And when I asked her that over Thanksgiving, I said, why do you have that much money just sitting in the bank? What are you doing with that? And she said, I don't know what to do with it. So I was like...
Henceforth, ergo, first steps to investing on Mike and Lauren Live. Boom, right here.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about it. First of all, why have you just put it in a bank account, and why?
I never...
There's no right answer. Just you don't have to be nervous.
There is a right answer.
Yeah.
I never really understood what to put it in because the stock market just seems so big and confusing. So I just kind of put it in the bank, but then I realized that you don't really get anything when you put it in the bank. It just kind of sits there and stares at you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not really exciting.
Why didn't you take the time to learn about it?
Like,
This isn't like, I keep saying it like mean, like, why? Just like, I'm curious, like, this is, you are everybody, so.
Since I have you guys in my family, I kind of hoped one day we'd get to this point, and you guys would just tell me.
But you never brought it up. I was the one that asked you how much money you had.
It was all in my plan. No, I don't know. I should have looked into it more. It just kind of confused me when I read about it.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think?
You do have some sort of retirement plan
I
thing,
do.
right? So what is that?
I made a retirement account with my bank. It's a money market.
Money market?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But the annoying thing about it is I actually have to go to the bank to put money in it. So I find I don't do it as much as I should because I don't go to my bank very often. I usually, do online banking or, ATMs and stuff. I mean, I have direct deposit, so.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So basically, to recap, she has $13,000 in savings because you guys said it was Frozen for a minute, and it's funny you say Frozen. I thought you were talking about the movie for a second. That's how infiltrated it is in our freaking culture right now.
Let it go.
No.
But refreshing apparently fixes that. So thank you everyone for fixing that. So to recap, for those that are coming back after it froze up, she has $13,000 in a checking account. How much do you have in your retirement money market?
I have like $100.08 because of interest, not to brag, but.
Okay, so pretty much none in that right there. But that's okay because it's a money market account, which is basically just a glorified bank account anyways. And for some reason, they make her go to the bank and physically deposit money into the account to even put it in there. So I don't know what type of retirement account it even is, if it's an IRA or Roth IRA or just a regular taxable
IRA
account?
sounds correct.
Okay. So we are probably going to not wipe that, but just not do any more with that. But how much of that $13,000 would you feel comfortable investing? And before you answer that, this is the first steps to investing. So actually where the rubber meets the road, how you actually invest is pretty simple. And I'll tell you and her that at the end. It's literally going to a website and buying something, and that's how you invest. But before you can do that, you need to A, understand the risks, B, understand why you're doing it, and C, understand how it works. So first question is, how soon do you need the money that you want to invest?
I mean, my biggest long-term money goal, I guess, is probably to eventually buy a house.
Okay. How old are you now?
I'm 22.
Okay. So do you have a boyfriend?
No.
Okay. So basically what I'm driving at is
single.
Yeah. So basically what I'm driving at is you shouldn't put money into the stock market if you need it in the next 3 to 5 years, or sometimes even 5 to 10 years, because it's so volatile. Tomorrow it could be worth a lot less, but we believe that over the long term it will continue to go up. So if you can ride it out for at least 5 years or so, then you know that you'll be in good shape. So that's the second question is, can you emotionally handle if you put money in the bank? Let's say you put $1,000 in the stock market tomorrow, and the next day it's worth $800. Does that freak you out, or do you believe and you know that in the long term it's going to go up?
I mean, you've definitely explained that it does go up and down, and you just kind of got to wait for it to get real high. I don't know what word I wanted to use there. Real a lot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you understand that you're not going to be like, it's going down, I need to take it out now.
Right.
Yes.
Because some people, if they see it go down, they panic and they want to just
pull it all out
and just recover what they can. But you can't do that, because that's how you
lose it all.
Lose it all. Yes. Okay. So you're emotionally comfortable.
Ready.
And we were just talking, her goal is to put some sort of a down payment on a house in 5 years or so, depending on where she's at and what she's got going on, and needing to have money for a down payment. But like I just said, she had been putting 50% of her paycheck towards her car payment, which she doesn't have anymore. So you can save 50% of your income starting right now, that can go towards a down payment, towards whatever.
Some future goal.
Yes.
We have a couple quick comments. One, Riffman42 says, it's not just doing nothing in the bank, it's losing money because of inflation. And this is very true. So it's hard for me to remember what we've talked about in videos and what is upcoming, because I've been really editing like crazy the Jim Collins stock series videos.
Which we're super excited about.
I know. So if you haven't heard about that, Jim Collins of JL Collins and H is an awesome guy, and he has a whole stock series. We went up to Wisconsin to film with him his stock series, and so my brain has just been all in that. So I'm having a hard time remembering even what I've said in this episode. So yes, inflation, basically I said all that to say there is no risk-free investment. Even if you're putting your money in a bank account or under the mattress, you're losing buying power over time, because as things go up, eggs used to be 29 cents, now they're $2. So if you just have it in a bank account, you're actually losing money. You're not just not making money, you're losing it. And next question, are you willing to see the balance drop drop to 5,000? So I think because we said 1,000, but you were thinking 10,000. So honestly, if we put in 10,000, could you see it cut in half and still believe?
I mean, it would probably freak me out a little bit just to visually see that, but I mean, I do trust you that in the long run it is going to be more and be worth it.
Okay. Do you have any other debts?
I have a credit card that's about $100 debt, and that's it. So.
Okay.
You don't have any school loans or anything, right?
Mm-mm.
And what is is it
Yay,
like
Bright Futures.
Is it Bright Futures is our scholarship program. Is the credit card a department store, or what is that?
It's just through my bank.
Okay. So you could pay that off tomorrow. There's no...
Yeah, easily. I just kind of started building credit if I needed credit.
Okay, so where were we at before we start for questions? Okay, so step one, do you need it for the next 3 to 5 years? The answer is no, so she's okay there. Second question is, can you handle emotionally? And yes, you can. And so the third question is, do you understand how the stock market works? Do you know what it means to invest in the stock market?
No.
Okay.
There's an app on my phone that says stock market, but that's all I got.
You can't get rid of it.
You can. It's pretty annoying. I've tried.
So I'll briefly explain how the stock market works, and then why we invest the way we do, so we can kind of tell you what you should do or what we think you should do, and then exactly how you do it at the end. So stock market is a bunch of companies, right? So every company that you see, that's publicly traded, takes money in, uses that money to build factories and things like that, and then pays it back. The actual how the money goes is one thing, but when you're buying it's too risky to buy a single company. I'm doing a really bad job. I should have probably thought about this before I did it. So it's too risky to buy a single company because they could go up or down, or it could go bankrupt tomorrow. So we want to buy a bunch of companies at once instead of buying one at a time. And there's a couple different ways to do that, and those are called funds. And funds are basically just a collection of companies. So now there's actively managed funds and passively managed funds. So both contain a bunch of companies. Actively managed means there's a person saying, I think we should buy this company, I think we should buy that company, I think we should sell that company. And then passively are ones that just follow a certain group of companies. So there's something called the S&P 500. It only keeps the top 500 companies in the U.S. So that's completely passive, because if one drops out of the top 500, it comes out, another comes in. So there's passive and actively managed funds. What we believe is that actively managed funds can't beat the passively managed funds in the long term, because human emotion gets in the way. Like we were talking about earlier, if you see it drop a bunch of money, your natural instinct is to pull the money out.
Wasn't that what happened when the stock market crashed? Everyone kind of freaked out.
That's exactly what, you mean the Great Depression?
Yeah.
That sort of thing? Yeah, so those, what's that called? Is that called a run? A run on the banks? Darn it, I should know that. But yes, exactly. So, but it's a little bit more complex than that. With actively managed funds, there's people who not only are emotionally tied to things, but they're trying to predict the future of saying, let's say I think Apple's going to do really good in the future, so I'm going to buy more Apple, where the reality is you can't predict the future. So the studies have shown that 80% of actively managed funds can't beat the market, which is considered, just the top, all of the stock market. If one fund had every company in the whole stock market, that's called the market. That's what we're talking about. Sometimes I'm not going to get into that, but it gets a little more confusing than that, but that's very watered down. So we have the option of actively managed funds. That's usually what you'll find at, if you have a 401k at work or something like that. Sometimes there's a passive option, but what we like are index funds, and those are the most passive of all passive funds. And not only that, we like the total stock market index fund, which is saying don't even try and follow a group of companies. Just take every company that's publicly traded and buy a little piece of every single one.
Okay.
And that's what we do. So what we're looking for is a total stock market index fund. Try and explain back to me.
Oh goodness, this is like
school. Let's quiz it. Yeah. Okay. So what's the difference between actively managed and passive funds?
Active is the top 100.
No,
passive is the top 100.
Passive could be anything.
Active.
Active is someone sitting there.
Yeah, sitting there watching and saying, predicting kind of what's going to happen.
Active is someone actively choosing.
Active.
Okay.
Choosing.
Passive is the top ones that could go up or...
Yeah, so passive could be anything, because passive funds could mean anything. You could say, I just want to follow health companies. So that could be a passive fund. But we're saying we want to take not only just, technology companies, or not just health companies, or not just real estate companies or something like that. We want everything.
Okay.
And just kind of diversify and spread our risk and that sort of thing. So now that you have somewhat of an understanding, let me try and think what another quiz question would be. What's a quiz question? Go.
What's a quiz question?
Yeah.
Of what you just went over?
Yeah.
You kind of just summed it up.
Okay, great.
What's the stock market?
It's where all the public companies have opportunity to invest. Right, it's public companies.
Public company, publicly traded companies. Okay, so I did a really bad job explaining that. Luckily, Jim Collins did it for us, and we have a 12-part series coming up very soon. But all that to say, you have to understand that you're not just trading numbers, that there's actual companies and there's actual people behind these little slips of paper that you're buying that are trying to make money and giving you a little bit of money for doing that for you. So now how to actually invest. This is where you could go anywhere invest your... Oh, sorry, we should do comments. Greggy says, that's a lot of info to digest. Yes, and don't forget about the expense ratios. Yes. So, like I said, that was really bad explanation. And Jackie just said word down. So if you guys are having trouble, refresh again. Jackie said the thing froze. Look for the stock series coming up. We really should have planned this out. I'm sorry, guys. So how do you actually invest? The first steps to actually investing are you have a couple of different companies that you can buy the index fund through. That's what I wanted to get to. So you understand what an index fund is more or less at this point, right? So you can buy that index fund from several different companies. Have you ever heard of Fidelity or, like the commercials?
Insurance?
They do.
Life insurance?
They probably do that too. But they're like an investment company. You know the E-Trade baby? Like, remember the commercials where like the baby talks? The baby talks?
I thought it was the Geico commercials.
No.
Oh, they have a Geico. Yes, I remember those.
There's lots of different, there's Scottrade, E-Trade, Fidelity, Ameritrade, all these different companies called discount brokers that you can buy your index fund through. But there's one in particular that we like a lot, which is Vanguard, because they are the only non-profit company that sells it this way. And because of that, their expense ratios, thank you very much. Where'd you go? Peter. Expense ratios are, why did we try and explain the whole stock market in one live show? This was so dumb. Expense ratios are how much the fund charges you to manage your money. So most like 401k funds, the actively managed ones, can have expense ratios of up to 5%, meaning they take 5% of your money every year just to manage it.
So you could be making not much at all.
Alternatively, Vanguard has an expense ratio of 0.05%, so a fraction of 1%. So you keep a lot more of your money. So that's why we like Vanguard, because they're a nonprofit in a sense. It's difficult to explain again, not going to get into this video, but more or less they're a nonprofit that instead of paying profit, they're like collecting money from you, taking money from you and giving it to their employees and their shareholders. They give it back to the funds. So they're the cheapest that you can possibly buy. That's why we like Vanguard. And so how you buy Vanguard is very simple. You don't have to go to your bank and give them money every time you want to. You literally just go to Vanguard.com and you buy the Total Stock Market Index Fund.
VTSAX?
She remembered. VTSAX.
Whoa.
So that's the Total Stock Market Index Fund. And for you, that would mean that you're invested 100% in stocks, which is considered very risky. So that's fine, though, because you're so young and you have, assuming you live to 100.
You're only saying that because you guys get my money if I die.
Yes. And so
That's what it's all about. That's why we're telling you where to invest.
Yeah. So you have, 80 or more years to invest. So it doesn't matter if it's really bumpy ride for you right now. So that's what we say. You go to Vanguard.com, and if you have $10,000, you can invest in the fund VTSAX, which is the Total Stock Market Index Fund. And you said you have $10,000 that you'd like to invest.
I do.
Which I don't know if she said that yet, but yes, she would like to invest $10,000 of her $13,000, which I think is a good amount to keep some in your bank account for emergencies and that sort of thing.
Liquid,
If you don't have $10,000 to invest, they do have VTSMX, which has a $3,000 minimum and has a slightly higher expense ratio, but is so far below the averages of everybody else that it's way better than anything else you could get. And then once you get up to the $10,000 mark, it automatically switches over to VTSAX, which has the 0.05 expense ratio. Cody asks, is VTX the only fund you guys invest in? Do you do international as well, or bonds? Yes, currently we are 100% in VTSAX, and basically we've decided that there's enough international exposure with 100% total U.S. stock market that, all these companies have international exposure because they're international companies. McDonald's is all over the world. It's not just in the United States. And as far as bonds go, we just don't, mostly because we're expecting we can handle the volatility of it. And, not to mention, we also have a lot in cash. So currently we have about $50,000 just sitting in cash in the checking account, which sounds stupid, but that's because we're going to be buying real estate very soon.
We tried to already. It didn't work.
Right. So that
Nashville sounds like a great place to buy some real estate.
Yes. So that money sat there it's been 8 months now, completely not earning us any money because we got dragged along so far. But we're going to January, going to hit it hard. I would like to find something in the next month or two so that money's not sitting there anymore. But yes, to answer your question, we're 100% in VTSAX and cash. Check out and listen to Money Matters Top 8 Vanguard Funds podcast for great info on Vanguard funds for first timers. Good info. I will copy and paste that. You should also mention VTI.IV as the ETF equivalent of VTSAX. So what we really should not have done in this video is try to explain the stock market in general. We should have kept to the the emotional side of it and the timeline and that sort of thing. But so with funds,
should we even get into it now?
Yes, real quick.
Okay.
If you don't have $3,000, you can invest in what's called an ETF or an exchange traded fund, and that has no minimum. And some people actually even say that it has even lower expenses than the fund itself. I've not looked into that myself, but I think it's pretty comparable. We just are in the Admiral Funds VTSAX because it's simple and it takes out automatic. Oh, when you do your thing, make sure you set it up that it pulls out automatically how much you want to pull out every month. And we should get into this. Where do you actually invest it? And this gets even more complicated. We should not have done this. We should have just done the 12-part Jim Collins series and just been done with this. But you can invest your money not only in different funds, but in different containers. Okay? And it's based on taxes. Because remember you heard IRA and that made sense to you?
Yeah.
That's a thing called an individual retirement account, which means you save on taxes now or later, and but you can't access the money until you're 59 and a half years old. So for you, since you can now save 50% of your income for a down payment that you want, I would suggest maxing out probably your Roth IRA. There's two different types of IRAs. We're not going to get into it right now, but for her, I'm going to suggest the Roth. And it's actually perfect timing right now because you can max out last year's and this year's Roth IRA at Vanguard and put the full $10,000 in. So when you go to Vanguard.com, it's going to ask you what type of account do you want to open. You're going to say investment account, and then it's going to ask you what kind of investment account do you want. You're going to have IRA option, you're going to have 529, you're going to have blah, blah, blah. Just look for Roth IRA. Okay. I'll write all this down.
Okay.
And then you can link up your bank account, and then you say, I want to buy VTSAX, and it's literally that simple. It's not any harder than that. You're going to have to put in all your, personal information, your social security, and blah, blah, blah.
But we don't say that on air.
Right. So that is literally how simple it can be to invest in the stock market. That's why I really wanted to talk more about kind of understanding it without getting into the details, because the actual act of buying, a piece of the stock market is really, really easy to do, and they'll pull it out of your bank account every month automatically.
Yeah, you made it sound a lot easier than I was expecting it to be.
So let's go back to comments and see if we can salvage this train wreck.
We're going to lose the camera here soon, aren't we?
What time is it? 23 minutes? Yeah, we got. You're trapped now. Here goes asset allocation. You should do setting up of a Vanguard account for Lindsay. Maybe we will do that. Maybe we'll do to salvage this thing.
Friday.
Yeah, we'll actually do a screenshot and we'll just blur out all the personal information and kind of show you what that is. And Suzanne says, stop confusing her. Haha, just kidding. See, let's talk about this. So what are you supposed to do? Because I truly believe you shouldn't invest in the stock market if you don't understand it. But how the heck are you supposed to understand it? I really take for granted.
I think you have to explain it more than 20 minutes.
Right, but it shouldn't have to be that hard.
I mean, I understand it a lot more now than I did before we started this.
Right. I guess that helps.
Something.
Yeah. And it would probably help if I had prepared something and not just trying to done this off the top of my head. Greg says she could still pull out the principal of a Roth without penalty, right? Penalty on is yes. So that's why it's so confusing. It's all these little details. So there's actually a lot of information out there that the regular IRA may be better. I have been a fan of the Roth IRA, and that's all we're invested in right now. But there's been some information out there that says do the IRA and then do what's called an IRA ladder and convert that to a Roth, and then you can pull out the, you don't need to listen to this part. You can pull out the principal or pull out those conversions, and then you basically get the best of both worlds. It's something we should definitely explore. But the reason why I say the Roth is because it's so simple. It's the difference between the two Roths is you either save on taxes now, or with the Roth IRA, which is what I said for you, when you reach retirement age, you can pull all that money out tax-free. You never have to pay taxes on it.
Nice.
And not only that, you can pull out your contributions without any penalty. So, we didn't mention the penalties. This is way too complicated. We're going to stop there. Anyway, I like the Roth IRAs, even though their IRA might be technically financially better, because one, it's a lot easier for me to understand the taxes and the implication of the taxes, and two, I like being able to pull out the contributions if you had to in an emergency without any penalty. Yes.
Yay.
Google Vanguard investing principles. I have not done that. I will look into that. Suzanne says, I'm laughing. Exactly. Keep reading and learning and just messing with you. You're doing fine. Doing a fine job. I hope so. Because this is bad. Okay.
I think we need to call it quits.
Peter says, that'd be cool. I'll be backdating Roth IRA contributions for 2014 myself. So that's what I'm suggesting to you. Let's do one last little confusing piece, and then we're going to call it quits.
Yay.
So basically, you can contribute for 2014 all the way until April 15th of 2015. So that's why you're able to. It's not like you have to get $5,000. Never even mentioned that. The contribution limit on an IRA is $5,000 a year. I think it's $5,500 a year now, maybe. Who knows? And there's so much to this. Is this? Oh my gosh. Okay. So your $10,000, basically, long and short of it is it's perfect. You can invest for last year's maximum contribution limits and this year's.
Okay.
We'll do it on Friday. That's
Yay.
Friday's video. Let's we'll do screen
goodbye.
cap and we'll say goodbye. Anybody have anything else to say? No.
Well, if you do, comment below the video once we're done. Let us know what you do.
Yeah. And thank you for watching
And let
me
us know
squirm.
how confusing this was.
Yeah. If it helped, let me know. If it didn't, let me know. We'll pull the video down.
I don't think we need to do that.
No?
I don't think so.
My
Wasn't
one
that bad?
claim to fame, and you're going to take it off the internet?
Yeah. All right. Bye,
All
guys.
right. Bye. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye. We're still live.
We're still live.
And we are off. No, we're not.